Welcome today to More to the Story with Molly White. I am Mary Browning, the co-host, and Molly will not be joining us today. We've just had some technical difficulties, and so she's not with us. But we are so glad you're here, and we're excited about our guest today. We have a woman who's been through an interesting experience, and you'll want to hear all about her. There will be some information today about abortion experience. So I just want to say that if you have abortion in your past or have had any experience helping someone with that and you're triggered today, just think of that as an opportunity to step into healing or another level of healing. And you can call the H3 helpline at 866-721-7881, and people there can help you find some healing resources or just talk to you if you'd like. Thank you. And so now I do want to welcome Natalia Figuero. And Natalia, it's so good to have you on the program. You have an interesting journey, and I'd just like you to tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into your story.
Hi. First of all, what an honor to be here. I take it as a calling from God to be sitting here with you. Really didn't want us to be here, and here we are. In spite of, I am a single mom, born and raised in Colombia. Been here in Texas for 24 years, 25 years, which is how long my son has been here. My journey has been a journey in my life. I gave my life to Christ when my son was a baby, and it has been a walk with the Lord since. If we all know sanctification, it's forever, right? Until we get to
Yes.
see him again. As a single mom, I used to work in the dental field till in 23, where my recovery started. My abortion recovery started. I started to get more involved with a program called Forgiven and Set Free. And ever since, my life has changed like significantly to where I am more towards ministry and more intentional about helping other women recover from abortion recovery. Now I am currently working full time as a client services manager with Real Options, which is a pregnancy center here in the DFW area. We have different locations. And with that, I'm a facilitator for Forgiven and Set Free. We do weekends. We have some like weekly meetings as well. And I'm excited because in the fall, we're finally going to be able to start doing the Spanish version of Forgiven and Set Free, Perdonada y Liberada. I am so thrilled that they finally got the material to do it in Spanish. So I'm thankful to Kernet for that one.
That's so beautiful, Natalia. And you are like many of us that have abortion in our past, and we begin to get passionate about people getting healed and getting freedom and really understanding what the sanctification and the blood of Jesus is and does for us. But if you don't mind, I'd like you to back up a little bit and just let our listeners in to your abortion experience, if you don't mind. We might have someone that has had a similar experience, and having heard a little bit of your story, I think it's fascinating. So, do you mind, Natalia?
Yeah. So I had my abortion when I was 21. I was going to college. It was in Colombia. And when I became pregnant, I was pregnant with from a man that, even though I was in a relationship with him, it was not healthy. And I had made the choice that didn't fit my life. I was going to college. I had a future that was brilliant. I mean, everything was good for me. So having an abortion was not going to fit in that schedule. I had this, I can control my decisions because that's what the world tells you, right? And so influenced and held by a family member whom I love. I still love her. She said, well, then just have an abortion. So she connected me and she helped me in the process. I went by myself. I'm not sure why she didn't go with me, but I did go by myself. Little did I know at that time that was the final stroke that the devil was going to put on my life to destroy me. That day, they do the sonogram, or they try to hear the heartbeat, and they said, you want to hear it? No, ma'am, don't hear it. I don't want to see anything. I turned my face down. I said, just get it over with. Let's do this. In the surgery, it felt like life was taking. I felt absolutely everything. I heard everything. I felt everything. And I felt like these women, like they were sucking the life out of me. And if you have had an abortion, if you felt that, know that you are not the only one who's felt that. I went to the recovery room after that. I was baffled. I was scared. I was in pain, and not physical, but it was emotionally. There was another girl that I went to college with, and she's like, "Oh, I've done this 3 times. You're going to be okay. It's going to be okay." And inside, I was like, how? I asked myself so many times, how can you do this more than once? How? And so I just smiled, waited for my recovery, and went back home. Not long after that, I broke out with the father of my baby. Not long after that, we had a re-encounter, and I became pregnant again. At this point, I didn't know what I was going to do because I was not going to go through that experience again. But I also didn't want to be pregnant. I also didn't want to be a single mom. I also didn't want to, like, I was in the same situation I was last year. So a friend of mine back then, her mom was a nurse. She gave me a couple pills and she said, "Here, take this. It'll feel like you're on your period, and that's it. You'll solve the solution. You won't feel it." It just felt like I had a very, very bad period. But my beautiful son hung on for his life. He's 24 years old now. Just goes to prove that God is so merciful. I call my son,
Yes.
saved my life. I tell him
Yes.
over and over again, he saved my life. And so, we moved to the States and I raised this beautiful, beautiful boy and as a single mom. But I lived a life. I lived 20 some years in shame, guilt, keeping a secret. I just started a relationship with the Lord. I gave my life to the Lord where he was so sweet to me. We are talking earlier about sanctification. The life of the Christian is a life of moving forward. It's a life of growing. It's a life of changing. But I always had this. Every time I prayed, every time I looked at God, I just felt like there was a roof right here, right? And you're praying, and I was like praying, but my prayers never passed the roof. Never. I was on depression medication. I was in a cycle of self-hate. I had a double life. I lived a double standard life where I went to church, and on the other side, I was dating and I was doing things that were not according to the will of God, looking for love in the wrong places. And the question in my heart always, if they only knew. If they only knew. And then people would tell me, you're such a great woman. You're a woman of God. And I'm like, inside immediately, if they only knew. If they only knew who I really was. If they only knew how dirty I was. There was nothing that I did up to a certain point that would change that of my mind. The devil, there was a stronghold in my life.
Mm.
The devil had me choked into believing that I was not ever going to be good enough for God. Nevertheless, to serve him,
Mm.
that no matter what, I was just never good
You
because of what
know,
I.
Natalia, I've talked to a number of people, and that's very common. And I know you know that too. I'd like to just give that helpline number again in case there's anyone out there that's listening. So if you are having some kind of reaction right now, your emotions are stirring, if what Natalia is saying to you right now is striking a chord with you, please call 866-721-7881 and talk to someone there, and they can connect you with a healing program. All right. Thank you, Natalia. I was I was struck when you said you were basically you were going to live your life. You had your whole life ahead of you, and then what happened on that day? You felt like life was sucked out of you, but then you kind of went through the motions as if nothing was wrong. But what you're saying, then over the course of time, then you got pregnant again and had your son, and then you dealt with depression and different things. Did you get any help for that, or did you kind of suffer in silence?
Both. I mean, I went to counseling after counseling, trying to find the root because, in all honesty, you go to deliverance weekends, you go through this, and then you go, and churches don't talk about abortion enough. So when you go through it, abortion, yes, God forgive me, boom, moved on. And I forgave you, but that's it, bye bye. You don't go deep into it. So I went to counselor, and I never thought, I'm like, in my mind, it was not the abortion. In my mind, I was like, what happened in my childhood? I had events in my childhood that were very traumatic, and I thought it was that, but it wasn't that, and it was like always this, like, why? Like, why is it, God? And I always ask God, because I ask God, why? Why do I hate myself so much? Why am I having this so deep inside my heart? Never. I like the abortion was never what I thought was my, holding my life the way it was.
Natalia, that's interesting because I've had that experience as well, and not connecting. I think of it as not connecting the dots, not
Yeah.
realizing. And what we hear in the cultural narrative is that it's no big deal. Your body, your choice. You make a decision, you'll never have to think about it again. And that's really not the experience for most of us, is it?
Mm-mm, it is not.
So was there a time when you began to connect the dots?
Well, I think God has this little way of setting us up, right? I don't know if I mentioned before, I'm bilingual. Spanish is my first language, and one of the things I love doing is translating and interpreting. So one day somebody called me from the church where I used to go to, and they were like, "Hey, we need somebody to translate in this health fair. They have a mobile unit with this company called, with this pregnancy center called Real Options." I said, "Yeah, translation. Let's do this. Let's go serve. I'm good." I went there and I had no idea what God was setting me up for. I met these ladies and then I started learning what they were all about. And I'm like, I'm ashamed. I'm full of shame as I'm sitting in that table because I'm like, where am I? Like, what am I doing here? Like, oh my goodness, is this like they're talking about abortion? Like, I felt shame. And it was my church, an event from my church. So I was ashamed. Somehow we got into talking about abortion with one of the ladies, and I shared briefly that I had an abortion. But that was it. Like, it was very, okay, sure, let's pass through this. And the lady shared with me, she said, you need to talk about it. 1 in 4 women have had an abortion by the age they're 40, and they don't deal with it until 20 years or so after. So just, it's confidential. Come and find us. I got home, and a few days later, I threw away the information. I didn't want to deal with it. But the next year, and the Lord, I was leading singles. I was leading the singles. And I said, I need a group where I can grow. As I'm leading, you need to be fed too. And the Lord kept leading me to what is called Forgiven and Set Free. And I was like, And again and again, that was the only group that matched. I said, okay, I'm going to do this. So I signed up. A few weeks later, I got a phone call. Not enough ladies signed up, so we're not going to do the group here at church. But the leader said, if you want to still do it, is it okay if I pass your information to the lady, Sarah, who was the director at that time? Is it okay if I pass the information? They have the workshops, they can do it. And, if she can reach out to you, would you be willing to that? And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. Pass the information. Sarah called me 1, 2, 3 times. And the last time I just returned her call. And I was going to tell her I'm no longer interested because I had already committed somewhere else. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing 10 weeks. Forget it. And she said, well, what about a retreat? And I'm like, let's talk. Maybe I can do this. This was in February of 2023. And I talked to her on February the 22nd, which was a Wednesday night. And she said, we need to meet before you go. I just want to make sure that you are able to go and that you are emotionally and spiritually ready to do this. And because it is an intense weekend. And on February 24th of 2024, I met her. Before I met her that morning, and I remember this date because it's my birthday, February 24th. That morning, the Lord woke me up with birds chirping and said, I have a gift for you. I met with Sarah Hamilton. I was so excited. And she said, yes, you can go. The next Friday, I was on that weekend. And that weekend changed my life. Forgiven and set free. I will forever be grateful to Real Options and to Sarah Hamilton for offering Forgiven and Set Free. Because that was the gift that I did not know I needed. I didn't know that what I needed to come to, because remember, that was no longer there. The question, it's been 3 years, and the question of if they only knew is no longer there because I no longer carry shame. There's, there's still emotion because this is so mine. And now, and my heart is to see other women heal. And, but I no longer carry shame when I talk about my testimony because I am free. And if the Son sets you free, then you are free indeed.
We can hear the strength and the freedom in your voice, Natalia. It's so beautiful. And I'm excited. So, one of the things that strikes me about your story is really how God really pursued you for that. So the first thing was can you translate something? And did you really not know what they were about? You
No,
didn't know. Okay, so
no.
that was the first time. And then a year later, God kept laying on your heart that the group for you would be forgiven and set free. And you're like, You finally kind of followed up, and then again, then they didn't have it because they didn't have enough people. But
Yeah.
I just love the fact that the person you were working with, can I give your name to Sarah? And then she called you 3 times, but you did call her back,
Yes. Just to
and
say
so
no, because I feel bad.
just to say no. Oh, that's right, because it was 10 weeks. 10 weeks would be too much, right?
Yes. That's what it
So
felt
she
like. Yeah.
But she, like, shifted then so quickly. "Well, how about a retreat?" And I love it that it was just, like, the next week. I mean, that's like, wow.
God set me up.
He
God
did.
set me up. He did not give me time to think about this. 'Cause he knew.
So there may be some people that are listening, Natalia, who have kind of been running or maybe haven't connected the dots yet, that some of the events in their life could be rooted in an experience they had related to abortion. So what would you say to them about that,
I
dodging the ball of getting caught there by God?
Well, because you have not connected the dots, you're probably going through counselors. You're probably taking medicine for depression, which there is nothing wrong with any of that, okay? Let me clarify. There's absolutely like, yes, yes, please seek help. But when you're trying to find the root and you don't know where is it coming from, and you try to dig, so the devil kind of like takes you here and this and that, like, and you're never, and you're still feeling exhausted even. You feeling drained. I encourage you to make the phone call. I encourage you to make the phone call. Talk to somebody. Talk to somebody. One of us. Just make sure, because that's the experience. That's how we go through it. Hey, I had an abortion. Could this be related? There are many tools out there. I love Forgiven and Set Free. Is one of the most word strong studies I've seen, and the words will set you free, right? The truth will set you free, and that's what I love about this specific. But talk to somebody that has gone through an experience. There is that phone line that Mary just gave,
Yes,
and I'm pretty
yes.
sure she's gonna give you again soon. Take that step. That's not going to commit you to doing, is not, you're not going to be committed to do everything that you need to do, or but maybe that phone call will bring light into your situation. That first step, don't think about everything else. Just think of that first step, because God wants you to be free.
Natalia, if someone's listening, like, is thinking, I'd really like to talk to that woman, can they reach you at Real Options?
Absolutely. So we have a wonderful director for our program. Her name is Didi Cobb, and I work with her as well. And our number is 972-424-4357. And though we are a pregnancy center, you can say I want to talk to somebody with for abortion recovery, and they will direct it to Dee, but they can give me my name and you can talk to me and I'll help you in the process. We do have a class that is going to start to this, pretty soon. We have summer classes, we have fall classes in person in Allen, and we're going to start again the one in Spanish. If you don't want to make the phone call, you can, there is a website, and it is ROAR, ROARTX.com. In that website, there is a link if you're interested in some help in talking to somebody. That's where you will find us. But again, Real Options Texas. And our number is 972-424-4357. We have an Allen location and we have a Dallas location as well. We have a mobile unit that goes to different areas as well. Yes.
So if they're in Texas and in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, they might be able to come in person, but you also have online resources, huh?
We have a website so they can sign up, and then we can guide them. If to that we are having very successful with the weekends, with the weekend retreats. We're very busy, and if they're not in the area, those weekend retreats, I'm one of the facilitators of the weekend retreat. Those weekend retreats are precious. They're intense, but they're precious.
Natalia, I think your story is just so amazing, and I'm delighted that you're sharing it today. I know it's probably not the first time you've shared it, but I do want to thank you. And just as an observer, just how beautiful the pursuit. So if someone out there is recognizing that maybe the Lord or someone has been chasing you down, suggesting you get into some help or get some healing. Check out a weekend if you don't want to commit to 10 weeks. The Forgiven and Set Free is a 10-week program. It's probably not too long of an investment for recovery of years and years of your time and your joy. But even the weekend retreats are beautiful. And so we just want to encourage you to check that out. Natalia, is there anything else you want to say to our listeners here before we sign off?
Just as he pursued me, he's pursuing you. Just as he loved me, he loves you. And just as he changed my life and set me free, he wants to change your life and set you free. Just all it takes is one step, and then he'll guide you through the next, and we'll help you walk through that. If you're not in the area, I know there is a lot of pregnancy centers that actually can hold abortion recovery. And then Mary has a huge resource list for you. But he loves you, and he loves for you is so, so, so real. And it's so full of no combination. He loves you. He loves you. He loves you. And no matter how far you go, he's going to find a way to find you. And I pray that you respond to that. And I pray that as scared as you are, you still did give that step and say, yes, Jesus, what you got for me. There is
Thank you. Thank you, Natalia. And that phone number, if you're not in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, is 866-721-7881, and they can connect you with a healing resource near you. And we are so glad you listened today. Thank you, Natalia, for joining us. You can see the joy and the freedom. The shame is in the rear view now, isn't it? It's so beautiful. And we're delighted to celebrate with you your son, who's 24 now. And so thank you. Launching that in Spanish, correct? The
yes,
Healing
yes.
Recovery Program.
Yes, and it's exciting. I'm excited because at the churches we don't talk much about it in the Spanish churches. So if you know of somebody in this DFW area, we are planning on launching in September. Just give us a call again at Real Options 972-424-4357, and we can get you in at the Dallas location. I'm excited to see more and more women now in Spanish.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Natalia. And
Thank you.
join us. Yes. Thank you for joining us, Natalia. And we'll have more for you in the next podcast. Thank you.